everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hope if you're new, and I'm really excited that you're joining me today. I've got my little iced coffee here. I've been making it with a bit of heavy cream, some monk fruits, and then just like a double shot of espresso. And I have just been using whole milk, but it's really, really good. Today I thought it would be really fun to walk you guys through my entire video creation process, or at least how I do all of the editing. I've been making content since about 2021, and so I've learned quite a bit along the way, and I thought it would just be fun to share that with you. So a little bit of context, I film everything for my short form content on my iPhone 15 Pro. It's honestly been really nice for it. I just use this and then like a collapsible tripod, and that's how I film all of my vlogs, all of my routines. It's just really convenient, so I've really enjoyed using my phone for all of like my short form video creation. Also, just a cute thing I wanted to show you, I have Milo on my lock screen, and then when you open it up, it has Ollie on the home screen, and I just think it's so cute. I love having them like on my phone. Anyway, so that's what I use for equipment, and then for editing, I do use CapCut. I originally started using it back in 2022, I think. I had been making videos for a little while and needed a better editing program, but lately I've kind of moved over to editing on my desktop as well, and so it is nice that CapCut is able to be used on like multiple different devices. So that is the editing software that we're going to be using today. I'm going to be sharing all of my tips, tricks, things I've learned, and really just sharing my entire workflow with you. My goal really is to just give you all of the tools and tips that you might need. That way you can start creating videos too. I absolutely love it, and I never thought I would, but I've been able to look back now on essentially 4 years of my life. It's just really cool to be able to look back on, and it's also really amazing to like connect with all of the people who have similar interests. It's just been a really awesome experience, and if you have ever thought about making short form content or anything like that, but you just feel a little bit intimidated by the whole editing process, I'm hoping that today's video will kind of ease your minds and also give you some practical tips on how to edit your content. We are just going to be editing one of my morning routine videos today. So the first thing I do is I go through and find all of the clips that I'm going to want to use. I have a ton of photos on my phone and a ton of videos, obviously. So sometimes what I like to do is make different folders, and it just kind of helps keep it a little bit more organized. I just go ahead and highlight all of the videos I want to use, and then we're going to go ahead and airdrop them to my computer. I use airdrop a lot when I'm making videos, just because I find it to be the easiest way to transfer all of these videos onto my computer. And then once they upload over there, all I do is add them into CapCut, and then we can get started. All right, you guys, we are officially on my computer. I want to say a huge thank you to CapCut for sponsoring today's video. Like I said, I've been using them since about 2022, and so it's really cool to be able to work with a brand that I have so much history with. So I'm just really excited to be sharing all of these tips and tricks with you. So first things first, up here in the upper right-hand corner, we have all of the videos that I took during my morning routine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. All I do is I highlight all of the videos and I drop them into this little upload section here. So as you can see, I've got all of the videos from my morning routine imported into this project. Then all I do is highlight all of my clips and drop them in. Once we've got all the footage in here, the first thing I do is I start just chopping down the clips. Obviously, like I said, I'm only working with very short segments, and so there's a lot that I don't end up needing. I usually start with just a rough chop, and then I can go back in and get the timing a little bit more exact. And then this is also the time where if I get a shot that I don't like, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it. This was a shot that I ended up reshooting because the lighting looked a little bit funky, and so you can see like the difference in that. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep the second one. But one tip would definitely be to always record more footage than you think you'll need, because it's usually better to have it and not need it versus the opposite. And so I would really recommend just recording more B-roll and footage like that you might not use, but would be nice to have if you needed it, if that makes sense. But if this sort of rough cut experience where you're going through your footage like this, if this isn't your thing, then I would highly recommend using CapCut's auto cut feature. It's been something I've experimented with a little bit. It's basically where you upload all of your clips, and then CapCut will use AI to trim it all down for you. It's honestly been really nice, and it is a huge time saver, so I would really recommend it if you are new to editing and you don't feel like you want to do this whole process. Using a system like that could definitely be really helpful, so I would really recommend it. Okay, so we are officially reaching the end of the video. I've officially cut it down from 6 minutes to 26 seconds, which is obviously a lot of footage, so that kind of gives you a good idea of how much I film versus how much I actually keep. Once I've got the rough cut done, this is when I'll really go through and make any adjustments to the individual clips. And so if I feel like something goes on for too long or not long enough, like if you look at how quick that was, feels a little bit too chaotic, so I might expand a few of them. And yeah, I just kind of play around with the timing of clips during this period. I also really like to utilize the keyframe feature. This is also where I'll consider using using any transitions or video effects or anything like that. Usually if I'm going through and I see something where I'm like, okay, maybe I want to zoom in on something, I'll either use an effect called slow zoom, I think it is. It has like a deer. Yeah, okay, I use this one, or I'll use keyframes. Those are really nice for creating like a gentle zoom in. If you see any zooms in my video, I'm either using slow zoom or I've just attached a keyframe to either end of a video and then I just kind of make it go in a little bit more. Okay, so we are fixing the timing. We're making sure everything feels very peaceful. I don't really like that clip that much, so I'm gonna take it out, make it a little bit longer, a little bit more, and we just kind of play around until we have something that we like. Okay, I think I like that. I feel like that's pretty simple. A lot of my vlogs are really just kind of to the point, so I feel like that does the job. Now we're gonna go ahead and add some text. I go ahead and just drag down the default text, and then I usually write something like morning in my life. I use the font system for all of my written text like this, and then if I am doing something with timestamps, I usually go ahead and check the timestamp of the footage and then just write that in. The font that I really like to use for my time is called Reenie Beanie, and I'll usually just make that a little bit bigger and stick it on top or below the text that I just wrote. Then I just kind of slide it so it ends at like the transition point between these two things. Sometimes what I'll do too is I'll bring the morning the life down a little bit just so it centers. I really like that CapCut has all of these like snap features. It makes it really easy to know exactly where the center is. The next thing I love to do is use CapCut filters. Two that I use most often, they're in my favorites. I have a couple of them favorited, but lately my favorites have been HD Sunlight and then also Sunshine. Occasionally I will also layer them, but I just drop it down right on top of the video, and then I usually adjust it down. HD Sunlight can be kind of aggressive, and so I usually like to sit at about 40 to 45 or so. And then I love Sunshine. I feel like it adds just such warmth in a really natural way to my video. I feel like CapCut filters are such an awesome way to maintain kind of a consistent aesthetic throughout all your videos. They're just super easy to use, and I feel like it just makes it look just so much better. I also feel like that's why if you look through all my videos, they all have kind of the same kind of feel or style to them, and I do think it's because using the same filters allows me to create kind of an aesthetic that stays consistent. So I love that combo. I also really like Radiance and then Glam highlights. I used Clear a while ago, but I haven't used it as of late, but these are like my go-tos at the moment. Honestly, almost done, but the last thing I really like to do is add effects to my text. I go ahead and I go to animation. I do have CapCut Pro. I've had it since last year. I just find that I have a lot more access to some of like the cool fonts or like animations that I wanted to use. But I really like this retro typer one, and then I usually just up the duration a little bit so it goes a little bit slower. Like, see how that kind of just plays out a little bit nicer versus I think the preset was to like 5 seconds or something. Here you can kind of see the difference. I feel like it just comes in a little bit too fast, and so I do like to just extend that a little bit. That's probably the animation that I use most often. To complement that, I go into the sound section, which is right here, and I really like using a few different sound effects. I have two in particular that I use most often. CapCut has a bunch of music and then a bunch of sound effects that you can choose from. I go ahead and just favorite the ones that I use the most often. I use this one a ton. This is the realistic sound effects for typing on keyboards, and then we're going to time it so it makes it look like that text is making that noise. And then whenever I am having text disappear from the screen, or if I'm having like a little quick transition, I like using this little click sound. Let's shave this down first. Kind of ends at about right there. I like the click. I feel like it just adds a little something extra. And if there is going to be sound behind my video, I will, like if I'm gonna go on Instagram or TikTok or something and add sound, I do go ahead and raise up the noise of these sound effects a little bit just so that they stand out a little bit more. CapCut having all those sound effects built in has been really nice. I'm even experimenting with like different pop noises and just kind of fun things to make my videos a little bit more engaging and intricate and like layered in a different kind of way. That is pretty much how my videos end up, I have my text on screen, some complimenting sound effects, that filter that I showed you guys, and I've gone ahead and edited the entire thing. So once we are ready to export the video, let me share my export settings with you guys. I go ahead and export in 4K. I do it at the higher bit rate. I do it in H.264. I do always change the frame rate to 60. Then we are gonna go ahead and click export. And now we just take a sip of coffee and wait for it to finish. And that's how I edit my videos. I really hope that I was able to give you guys a little bit of insight into some editing tips, tricks, and things that I do to make life easier. And if you haven't already checked out CapCut, I'll leave a link down below. That way you can try it out for yourself. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them down below in the comments and I'll get back to you there. Thank you guys again so incredibly much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys.